Give the gift of Rev Voice this Christmas. Rejoice with Rev Voice when you sign up and enter to win 12 days of giveaways, including a 2015 Jeep Wrangler from Bahamas Bus and Truck.
The man originally suspected of last week's shooting death of an off-duty police officer is released. Leslie Miller renews calls for the enforcement of the death penalty. The Prime Minister announces a major multi-million-dollar tourism development in Abaco, and police reporting a decrease in fraud. We've got these stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and MB12 starts right now. Topping news tonight, following the shocking execution-style murder of an off-duty police officer last week, police quickly made an arrest in the case. But more than a week later, they say that suspect has been released. Within hours of the fatal shooting of Sergeant Wayne Roll, police arrested a man who had recently been released on bail for a double murder earlier this year. Speaking on the matter for the first time, Commissioner of Police Ellison Greenslade says despite having no suspects in custody, the case is still actively open. Jasmine Brown has the details in this report.
According to police, that initial suspect was released from custody earlier this week, as initial reports indicate that he was allegedly released on bail and also wearing an ankle monitoring bracelet. Greenslade called Roll's murder a blow for the force. He also had this to say about those initial reports.
I love our population, our people. And I'm going to be the last one to tell my public that, you know, the information that they have might not be 100% correct, because that's a difficult thing for a commissioner to do. We lost a police officer recently to murder during an armed robbery. We've lost any number of citizens in this country, far too many. It's actually a disgraceful number.
Roll, a sergeant, was killed on Montrose Avenue and Durham Street last week Thursday. He was found slumped over in a Jeep. Following the incident, Police Staff Association Executive Chairman Inspector Dwight Smith said police officers should be allowed to carry firearms when off duty. When asked to respond to Smith, Greenslade only said civilians should not seek to attack police officers.
What I'm going to say is, you should assume, if you are a criminal, that if you challenge a police officer, the police officer is going to be in a position to discharge his or her duties in accordance with the law. And so I don't recommend any bad person accosting a police officer and assuming that he or she is armed or unarmed. This commission isn't going to be distracted by people offering comments and suggestions that are ultra-virus to law, whether they be police officers of any rank or members of the public. As a professional person, I am fully aware of what we are dealing with in this country.
Greenslade appealed to anyone who has information regarding the shooting death of an off-duty officer or information on any other murders to come forward.
The people that have committed those crimes live among us. They are our family members and friends. We need to turn them in. We need to turn them in. There are people in the Bahamas and in New Providence who know precisely who murdered Officer Wayne Roll. They know precisely who have committed murder over the course of many months in this calendar year. And they have the ability to turn them in before they murder someone else.
The country has recorded 115 murders for the year so far. Anyone with information is asked to contact police at 911-919-502-9991 or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Throwing his support behind the enforcement of the death penalty amid renewed talks for capital punishment, Tall Pines MP Leslie Miller says politicians who do not want to enforce the death penalty should stay the hell out of Parliament. It was earlier this week that Constitutional Commission Chairman Sean McQueenie said there's been a very strong push for the next referendum to address the death penalty.
You have to face it head on. You have to put a group of policemen together who's going to go there and clean this country up. It's either them or us. And if the politicians, those who in power, that has the responsibility to protect and enhance Bahamians' lives, if they sit back and allow this thing to continue any longer, then you all know what to do at the polls. Get rid of them. And vote for people who's going to look out for your interests instead of the foolishness that is going on in this country today. You don't want a death penalty, you don't want to knock our laws, then stay the hell out of Parliament.
Miller said the Bahamas is in peril and the death penalty is already on the books and ought to be enforced.
Since I was elected by the good people of Blue Hills in 1987, I've been advocating the death penalty is on our books. You know, I think we've gotten to a point in this country today, unless we implement our laws fully with regard to the death penalty, we're going to perish just like Jamaica. I say it every time I speak in Parliament. We are headed down a slippery slope, and there's no coming back. This country is in peril.
Miller explained the death penalty could be a way to mitigate crime by stopping repeat offenders, as once a convicted killer is sentenced to death and that sentence is carried out, a murderer cannot kill again.
A man would come here right now, he and a few guys, and take all of our lives, knowing that his life is not going to be taken. Once you take his life, he's off the street, he wouldn't kill again.
Miller also noted our closest neighbor to the north, the United States, enforces the death penalty in certain states and said the Bahamas emulates the U.S. in many ways, so why not as it regards capital punishment? Miller also hit out at the Privy Council for its role in overturning death penalty sentences.
In the United States of America, a country that we emulate with everything, they have the death penalty is fully enforced. We like to emulate them. Why can't we do what they do? But we are so gutless, we're never going to do it. You know why? Because 12 guys in London who doesn't face the problems that we face on a daily basis decides our futures. It is grace that we call this country free and independent, and we're depending on them to decide our future. But that's the way it is.
President of the Bahamas Public Service Union, John Pinder, says he is in favor of capital punishment. He says the rising murder count should move the government to implement the death penalty immediately. Simone Davis has more in this report.
Pinder says the union previously proposed a 14-point plan to the government to put a dent in crime. He says he blames the escalated murder rate in the Bahamas, which is now at 115, on the easy access of guns.
It always saddens me the amount of murders that are taking place in our country. Some time ago, I gave the government a 14-point plan how to at least put a dent in some of the crime activities. We have 4 major problems. The murder rate, 90% of those murders were committed by guns. We have a problem with illegal guns entering into our country. We're not doing sufficient to stop the importation of illegal guns and weapons and ammunition coming into our country. I don't think we're doing enough.
He added that the constant gun violence is a result of retaliations by family and friends of murder victims. Pinder said it is also caused by the public's lack of respect, fear, and faith in the justice system.
We need to do a little more to find these weapons and take them out of the hands of would-be criminals. And thirdly, it appears though Bahamians has no respect for the justice system. Okay? It appears though people have no faith in our justice system. And so most of the crimes taking place right now, the murders, are retaliations. Persons who go up, Foxhole, either on waiting trial, we hear them coming out while they have spent too long on waiting trial and they have to be given bail. They come out, they're killed shortly there afterwards, or persons who have spent time in prison. When they come out, they find the persons who was involved in some crime with them or however caused them to go to jail, or some victims, persons, and all of this. So I think there's not much faith in the justice system in the Bahamas.
The BPSU president said the government needs to make an immediate decision on whether or not it should resort to capital punishment as a way to get a grip on crime.
We have to look at our system and seriously the laws on our books. We got to use them or the criminals will continue to wreak havoc on our country.
Pinder noted that he disagrees with religious leaders who believe that capital punishment should not happen in the Bahamas. He says if it doesn't happen, then the country would continue to experience these murders by those who have no regard for life. He said it is important for people to be taught conflict resolution so that they can resolve issues and not resort to taking someone's life. He also gave this advice to those who are contemplating committing a crime.
Crime is cheap, but freedom is very expensive. It is very expensive to stay free. You get yourself in trouble, in a split of a second, you can get yourself into trouble. What can it cost you to get out of that trouble? Thousands of dollars. All kind of problems to your family, embarrassment to your family. Your freedom is taken away from you. Think about these things, guys, before you make these, criminal activities. Before you get involved in criminal activities, think about your freedom, man. There's nothing more important to you than your freedom.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
In other news, the Abaco Club on Winding Bay in a $30 million deal has been acquired by Southworth Development and Abaco homeowners. The sports club and residential community was previously owned by a Marriott affiliate and managed by the Ritz-Carlton. Today, in a ceremony, Prime Minister Perry Christie announced that over the next 5 weeks, Southworth will carry out a series of renovations, including the construction of 150 additional homes valued at around $348 million.
As we consider developments in our country, there are two paramount considerations that government and governments in our democracy must always put to the forefront of decision making. One is that you have the right investor or the right investor group. People who will do more than see the Bahamas as a place to put some money and get a return. It is indicative of something special when the investor says, I'm not just investing my money, but I'm becoming a resident myself. With the signing of this deal, the Abaco Club, and indeed the destination of Abaco, is now poised, as I've indicated, to enter a new phase of growth. And Mr. Southwood, we are going to be very close to you in this regard, towards ensuring that Southwood and the homeowners as beneficial owners of the company would take advantage of the fact that Southwood is one of the leading high-end luxury residential resort companies in the United States of America.
A semi-customizable plantation-styled cottage at the club runs between $2 and $3 million and covers 2,800 square feet. The 18-hole golf course at the Abaco Club has just been ranked by Golf Weekly magazine as #1 in the Bahamas and #8 in the Caribbean region. New owner of the Abaco Club, David Southworth, says he's excited about the partnership and is looking forward to making Abaco his new home away from home. Michael McCormick, spokesman for the consortium of homeowners in Winding Bay, described this new venture as what the Abaco Club was initially intended to be.
We've had such a warm reception over the time that we've been down here working to put this project together. We very much believe in giving back to the communities in which we live and work. We will do that here in Abaco. I myself am becoming a resident here. I have that opportunity now that my youngest is off in college, so I will be here for years to come.
And we all had this crazy idea that we could reset the ship. And with the wonderful assistance of Bruce Selkirk and Scott Andrews and Melanie Spivak and a whole group of members who have been participating in this, we found and developed relationships not only with the government. Once again, thank you, Minister Roll, for all your time. Prime Minister, we really appreciate it. And we also found the perfect developer for the property in David Southworth and their organization.